Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys straight from Verizon's News Center. I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So, this is getting very, very, very interesting. So, in terms of networking and coverage, it's getting very competitive. So, Verizon expands wireless service in Newington, Virginia. So I did a bit of research before making the video. So it does look like per T-Mobile's coverage map that T-Mobile already has existing coverage there, and it's 2.5 coverage as well, the ultra capacity. Now, overall, Verizon still has the larger coverage, but there are some areas that T-Mobile has expanded into where Verizon didn't have existing coverage, and they're kind of battling it out now. T-Mobile is trying to get to their benchmark competitors' coverage, which is Verizon. So T-Mobile is trying to grow their coverage natively in areas where they didn't have coverage and Verizon had coverage. Verizon is also still expanding their services as well. So we gotta point that out in this video. So from a networking perspective, it's getting very competitive. Not only on a business perspective, right? The switching, the pricing, the promos, it's competitive there, but it's getting competitive on the networking side as well. So as Verizon continues expanding their network footprint, that will also keep T-Mobile on their toes, right? Further expanding their network, making their network better, and vice versa. T-Mobile expanding into Verizon territory will also make Verizon pay closer attention, maybe put out some priority for some of those upgrades. Like, hey, T-Mobile moved into our area with 2.5. We're seeing a lot of switchers. We need to get the C-band there a bit quicker than we had originally planned, and that's how that works. They can see all those numbers. They can see an immediate shift in port outs. They see port ratios. They see, trust me, the teams internally, they see all of those numbers, and then it gets red flagged. Like, hey, in this region, we're all of a sudden losing all these customers. All of that gets red flagged in the systems. They're made aware of it, and they shift and pivot how they see fit when they see those numbers. So it's very interesting to really point that out. Verizon continuously expanding. Now they're expanding into T-Mobile territory where T-Mobile may have, dominated. This seems to be a very rural area from what I saw in the research. T-Mobile was there with service. Verizon apparently wasn't. So now Verizon expands into that area. They cover I-95 now nicely. They cover the high schools with lots of C-band. So it makes it for very interesting competition, and that's what we need. That's what we really need. As I mentioned, and I'll make that point in several more videos, before this merger with Sprint, we didn't have that type of competition. It wasn't as scaled as it is today. And as each year passes, T-Mobile will scale more and more and more. Even though they come in at a lower capex, as time goes on, they will continue expanding bit by bit. That next year they will have more native coverage in Nebraska, as an example, more native coverage in the Montanas, more native coverage in Virginia, more native coverage in Maine. So you guys get my point. So Verizon has to be on the lookout. They have to defend their position as well. They can't just lay down and let T-Mobile take all those rural customers. And if they do, I mean, that'll be a huge negative, in my opinion. That'll be a huge negative for the current leadership. And the current leadership at Verizon, they already have a lot of negatives to deal with that they have to change. But if they just kind of lay down and not really fight back from a competitive perspective, and they just let T-Mobile walk all over them, then that becomes a real problem. That's another negative to add to it. And then, something has to really change. If the board is really in agreement with what Hans Vestberg presented, then that's a big problem for an extended period. If they're just okay currently in the short term, pushing up service revenue, some of the profits, then they're in for a rude awakening, because T-Mobile is really not stopping, right? Their slogan, "We won't stop," they're not stopping. Maybe it'll take them a little bit longer to get to these areas because they're not spending as high of a capex, but eventually they will get there, right? I'll throw this out very simply. If they didn't get to an area with new coverage in 2023, they will get there in 2024. If they didn't get to certain areas in 2024, they will get there in 2025. They will make it a part of each year's CapEx to grow the network in specific areas moving forward, because that's a high initiative inside the company. They're growing that small market rural area footprint. They have regional managers now, VPs, that are in charge of these regions. They are looking to grow. They they communicate well with the engineering team. They say, okay, we have obtained X amount of percentages here, but now we want to go here. How long is it going to take you to get the network there? That's how they're communicating. And that's something that Verizon is paying very close attention to. Trust me. So as we see Verizon expand here, and there's several other articles out there where they're expanding, they're doing so for bringing better services to their customers, because they have customers in the surrounding areas, and to also compete against the competition that's moving in. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let me know if you think that's healthy for competition. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.